It's me, John D. Villarreal, the four-time national champion and the super genius. Arm wrestling fans, we are talking about John Brzenk versus Devon Larratt. This is the update number 2, live update and analysis here from JDV. And listen, a lot's happening. A lot has happened recently. They are both in Dubai right now. There's new information. There's new footage out there. Larry Wheels has put out a video with them sitting down and talking back and forth with I believe the CEO of Core Sports. If I had that correctly, I hope I apologize if I didn't have that correct. This is just amazing. This is amazing. King of the Table 2, John Brzenk versus Devon Larratt. And also Devon Larratt had his own short video. I think it's like about a 3-minute video of those two gripping up left-handed and what we saw there. First of all, I have to say a couple things. This is absolutely going the way that I thought it was going to go. This is absolutely going the way I thought it was going to go. John Brzenk looks huge. This dude looks in the best shape that we've seen him, in a long, long time, possibly ever. I think John Brzenk, when he weighs in, I expect to see 250 to 260. He could be every bit of 260. He looks massive. His arms, wrist, everything, dude. He looks ready to go. Devon Larratt, not as big. I might have surprised myself. I thought Devon Larratt was going to come in 280, 285, I think I was saying, but I said I wouldn't be surprised at 300. No, he's gone the other way. I mean, we may say Devon Larratt weighing in at like 260, 265, right? Devon Larratt is definitely leaned down. I think it's pretty clear what the tactics are going to be in this situation right here. I expect Devon Larratt, and listen, I think the mental games, or the mental aspect of this is getting to Devon Larratt. I think it's really getting inside his head, and he talked about it. He's about John Brzenk's video. He talked about that situation. Here's the deal. I think Devon Larratt was basically my paraphrase. Hey, listen, it's not up to me to referee the match. And what he said kind of like contradicted. It wasn't really super logical in my opinion. On the one hand, he made a statement that it shouldn't be up to the referee. We shouldn't have to have a third person in here, and they shouldn't have any impact on the match. This is basically a fight one-on-one, and maybe this is the soldier's mentality. Maybe and massive respect to both these two. Both these two are some of the best ever. There's no doubt about it. John Brzenk, absolutely the best ever. I don't think even Devon would really dispute that, but. Larratt's position was, on the one hand, first point is, I don't want a referee involved in this. I'll figure it out. It's up to you, John Brzenk, to get your grip and figure it out. I'm going to do what I need to do to win. You do what you need to do to win. It's between us, mano a mano, person to person, competitor to competitor, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. And that's it, right? And I have a problem with that. I'll come back to that too. I understand that. I get it, but I have a problem with that. But then on the other hand, he was saying, so a referee shouldn't come into this and he's going to do whatever it takes to win. Well, then here's the problem with that, Devon. I get it. I understand the mentality, but I still go back to what I said. You can't call yourself the best arm wrestler in the world if you're going to kind of, not let someone get a fair setup. That's it. I understand. He said, listen, it's not. I can't. It's not within my makeup. I can't. I'm always going to try to win no matter what. So it's up to the ref. The ref. You're gonna have to. I think the quote was, you will have to foul me out. Then you did say. Then you're basically saying that it is back to the ref. So it is arm wrestling. It's not a street fight. Right, so there are rules, and that's the point. I understand the mentality, but it's at the end of the day, it's still a sport. Just like in soccer, you can't pick the ball up with your hands and run it into the goal, and then right. I mean, you can't in boxing. You can't grapple someone and take them to the canvas. Every sport has its rules, and this has its rules. And part of the rules is to have a fair competition. Now, so here's where I would agree with you, Devon Larratt. It's up to John Brzenk to, do everything he can to win within the rules. It's up to you to do everything you can to win within the rules. But you still have to play within the rules. brother, you still have to play within the rules. And that's the difference, I think. And that's a very, distinction. And maybe it's my, having gone to law school at Berkeley and stuff like that. And obviously that's not, maybe I don't think Devon Larratt did, and I'm not saying that's a bit, but these distinctions, and Devon's great, right? I'm not saying that's what I mean. Being able to make these fine distinctions are very important, right? In this respect, because the fans want to, nobody's begrudging you doing everything you can within the rules, right? That have to be fair to win. No one's saying, hey, Devon, you can't try to tire John out. Hey, Devon, you can't do a king's move. No one's saying that. Now, do we want to see someone submerged on the table? No. But if you do this, if you're posting up and you're so much bigger, you don't let John get a fair grip, and John basically acquiesces to, listen, I'm going to disadvantage myself just to start the match. That's no good. So what Devon is saying, in my opinion, is we need a strong ref to get in there. And if Devon needs to get fouled out one match to wake him up, and whatever it is, we need to see a fair start. Everybody would listen. We don't know how much. I mean, you two. It's not like you're 20 years old anymore and something like that. Like everyone, and even John has said, like, you two have both been so great arm wrestlers, and you haven't really faced each other that many times over the career for how great both of you are. And then sometimes there's different weight classes and stuff like that. You deserve it to yourself and to the fans. You need a fair start. I understand you want to win Devon Larratt, and I understand that the stakes are higher than ever. The visibility is higher than ever. Maybe the money's higher than ever. But you have to do a fair start, and sounds like Brzenk wants to maybe go to the strap at some point too. So you're going to get the strap. Brzenk was talking about being able to handle the endurance, so you'll be able to work the endurance game. But you have to have a fair start. Now, I think I've made that point, but I wanted to make that point because I think the criticism is getting to Devon. I think he I don't know if he realizes that he kind of got himself, in my opinion, potentially in a logical trap there, or was sort of being contradictory, or maybe that's just, this is part of the game. What I've sensed, now I'll table that. What I sense from Devon Larratt is he's worried. He's a little bit worried. I'm not saying he's scared. I think they're both very confident. I think they both think they can win, which is awesome, right? But I think we're going to see vintage Devon Larratt. I think we're going to see Devon Larratt try to, as Travis Bajan said, as many grip ups as possible, as many ready goes as possible. I think you're going to see King's move. I think you're going to see defensive arm wrestling. I think you're going to see bleed outs. I think you're going to see a lot of different things. Everything that we've seen from Devon Larratt, I think, and he even said to Brzenk, like, look, you're going to have control the whole match. You're going to have to be able to dominate. You're going to have to be able to flash him or something like that, because otherwise he's going to try to drag John into deep waters. Now, John, I think, is prepared much more for endurance, and I think John is much stronger. But I think that you wouldn't be saying that, I'm doing whatever it takes to win and it's up to the ref. If you were totally confident, then you'd feel like you'd have to, you could go with a fair grip. And even Devon said that, listen, you're not always a stronger person in an arm wrestling match, and sometimes you're going to have to use technique or my words, tactics to win it. And Devon's focused on winning, so I understand being focused on winning. But the importance of this match transcends, right? This isn't a state match. This isn't the Ottawa Championships or whatever it is, Canadian. This is, or USA. This is a globe. This is best of all time. This is global. This is everything. This is king of the table too, is what it is, right? You gotta give him a fair grip. You gotta give him fair grip, Devon. There's no way around it. You want to try to do different things, whatever, and it can't be who does the best politicking, who does. I'll give you an example. I was a great wrestler, in my opinion, right? Undefeated my last year. And, I wrestled with a lot of great people. There's a move in amateur wrestling called a crossface, where you basically can, there's different moves, right? And you can, it's totally legal. You can do different things. I don't want to get into specifics. People probably aren't going to understand anyway. There's different moves. In wrestling, right? Okay, let me put it as simple as this. In boxing, you can't go wrestle someone. in wrestling, you can't go punch someone. Okay? It's very simple. It's simple. You can't do that. You have to do what you can do within the rules. In wrestling, you can throw someone. You want to throw them as, and so you can do, there's lots of things you can do, Devon. You can do a king's move. You can do defensive wrestling. You can post your legs. You can do all that kind of stuff, but you have to, you need a fair grip. That's what the rules say. Rules say a fair grip. Equal webbing, all that type of stuff. You got to give him a fair grip. Simple as that. That's what people want to see. People don't want to see Michael Todd on the table and stuff like that. And so, and you can say, well, maybe that got to Michael Todd and maybe he wasn't as I don't know. People say, well, he should have done what he needed. You could have said the same thing with Michael. That's actually the best example. You could have said the same thing with Michael Todd if he had the same mentality. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. So he goes under the table, and I don't think they were going to allow that in King of the Table 1 or something. Or you can't be on the table losing percent. I don't know, but guess what? If for whatever reason the rules allowed that, and Michael Todd did what he used to do, how many people would have liked to have seen that? What respect would Michael Todd? People, I think, even though Michael Todd lost in the way that he lost and the respect that he showed you, I think both of you elevated tremendously from that match. So I fully get the competitors, mentality. And maybe you were special forces, amazing. Thank you for your service. No doubt about it. I understand the mentality. Believe me. Having so many friends and colleagues, that were in the military and stuff. But at the end of the day, this is an arm wrestling match, and there's certain you expect fair play when it comes to sports. So I think that would redound to win, lose, or draw. If the match is good, and if it's competitive, and if it's fair, it's going to redound to everyone's benefits. No one's going to begrudge John Brzenk if he loses to you, someone who's much bigger than him, who's younger than him, and he's been retired. No matter what, John is still has etched his name as the greatest of all time. At this point, I don't think anyone can ever beat that just because of the longevity and the quality of his wins and his matches. At the same time, if John Brzenk, the best of all time, beats you, I don't think anyone's gonna begrudge you that either. So that doesn't mean don't go in there, and you should try to win Devon Larratt, do everything you can within the rules to win, and John Brzenk should do everything he can within the rules to win. Now, so I think that was a very important. That's a longer than I wanted to go on that, but that was a very important distinction, champion here, to say that. So that's important. Now, yes, okay. Second point, when they gripped up, what did I see? Look, I think Devon's better. Devon's left is better than John's left. Devon's definitely, as Ryan Bowen said, I think he definitely was trying to work the height there. I think John saw something. There. And I think that Devon is confident, but knows there's danger as well. And I think Devon even said that in the sit down, basically, that look, this is a much bigger test than Michael Todd. Michael Todd has the one move. This is, I think, Devon's characterization, in my opinion. And if you beat that move, that's it. John has many different moves. And John had a laugh at the end of that. It was basically, I think he was sending a message to Devon. I don't think this was mind games. I don't think John has that I think John has more of a steely confidence, right? And in some ways, he just likes to arm wrestle, and he will give up positions just to get the match going and stuff. And even he said, like, look, I'm not the super endurance dude, so I just want to get the match started, even if I have to give up some position. I think he's worked some more endurance at this point. But if you haven't seen that, go check out Larry Wheel's video. At the end of it, John's, he's giving this laugh, and it's like, whoa. It's almost like Pennywise or something like that. It was crazy. It was like, oh, we got some chats here. Hold on a second. What do we have here? Okay, hey, what's going on, Chen Pai? What's going on? Chen Pai, appreciate that. Define fair. Well, look, Summit, listen. the fair is the way it's supposed to be is that no one is supposed to have an advantage on the setup. It's supposed to be a fair setup. Now, you'll have people trying to carve in. You'll have people try to shoulder in. You'll have people trying to gain hands. I mean, you'll have people trying to load up. But it basically should be, in equal environment. If someone does this, they've taken control of your finger. I can't show this quite right. If someone's like this, someone's like this and then they grip down and you're here, right? You already have control of their fingers. You can already top roll. You've defended them. That's not fair, right? If it's here, now both competitors, then you go from there. But if someone started here, the way Devon, if you look at that match, right? That 2008 match, I believe, Devon's arm is right up here, right? You can't, as a shorter, levered and the shorter arm wrestler, it's very, very difficult to get around that. So a fair setup is exactly that. It should be right in the middle, equal webbing, gripped up equally, and then you go from there. That's fair. Now from there, then once the match starts, again within the rules, then it's up to the competitors to do their things. Obviously, there's running fouls, or there's fouls, or there's warning, whatever. But that look of John Brzenk at the end of that Larry Wheels video, I think, here's what I think, bottom line. I think that we're going to see vintage Devon Larratt, and he's going to try to bleed him out. He's going to try to wear John out. We might see King's moves. We might see all kinds of different things from Devon Larratt. We're going to see tactics. We're going to see, the antics. We're going to see all of that from Devon Larratt, I predict. But I think John thinks he's got an answer. I think John thinks he's got the better hand. He's got to stop Devon's pronator. I think Devon Larratt might be very, very surprised. And remember, John Brzenk, Devon's big. Okay, how big was Saplinkov? How pumped up was Saplinkov? And John Brzenk beats Saplinkov, right? So I like this matchup. Where I am at right now, and I have to see the weigh-ins. I have to see everything that happens there. Where I'm at right now is I've got John Brzenk 4-2 on this. I can see if Brzenk gets into a bad spot or doesn't like it, he gives up the loss. I can see, if Brzenk's already up 4 matches, maybe Devon wins one late. I think this is going to be very, very competitive. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think the referee is really crucial in this for making sure that there's a fair setup, and maybe got to throw some fouls, and maybe Devon or John loses a match because they're not following the rules or whatever it is. I think we need a ref that's engaged to be able to make this the match that the fans want to see, which is a fair match. No one's going to be, I'm not going to say no one. I think that the fans in general will be okay, win, lose, or draw either way, as long as it's a fair match. But we don't want to see 50 different grip ups. We didn't have the right setup. We didn't have the right start. I think we're going to see that. But right now, my prediction has evolved. Similar. It's really the same, but I've put a more refinement on it. I see John 4-2. I'm more confident now about John winning than I was before. I think Brzenk believes he's got the answer. He looks bigger than ever, and it really comes down to Devon's got to stop the match. But we've seen, people stop the match on John before, and John still win. We've seen, Michael Todd stopped the match against John, and John still won. So I don't think that's the end all be all stopping the match, but Devon has to stop the match. So yes, I think Devon's going to be working defense and endurance, and I think we're going to see a classic Devon Larratt match, but I give the edge to John Brzenk in this. I definitely want to see the weigh-in. Let's see exactly. There still may be some mind games and some sandbagging here. So let's see what Devon really weighs in at. So I think John thought he was going to come in heavy. Let's see what happens there. But this makes more sense to me. I think both of them it makes more sense both ways. I think John Brzenk is powered up, ready to go. I think he's done some great training, and I think he's leveled up like Paul Sill, I believe, was saying, and he's going to be ready to go. Devon Larratt, I think, is going back to vintage Devon and is going to try to work the endurance and going to try to work the angles, and still has plenty of power and still has plenty of strength. And I think both of them are healthy. This is a super interesting match. I mean, it's just such a great match. And thank you to Core Sports, and thank you to Larry Wheels, and thank you to Brzenk, and thank you to Devon. This really is the best match that could be made this entire year. And I believe that. No disrespect to anybody else in Levon or any of the different leagues or anything like that. This is just because of the history, because of the table IQ, because of the legendary status, and just John Brzenk, anything, right? I mean, this is just, and it has it all. This has everything, right? Neutral venue. I mean, it's great. This is great. This is super exciting. So you let me know what you think. Give me the thumbs up. If you like this video, please share it. Please turn on notifications. Please subscribe. We'd love it. We're going to be covering this all week. There's so much every day. There's more that comes out on this, and it's very, very interesting. So I love the mentality that they both have, and I love that both want to win, and I respect absolutely Devon Larratt, and I get it. But I would refine that. Listen, Devon, it's all good, but just give him, you have to have a fair setup and then go from there. That's my opinion. So anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate all of you out there, and I'll talk to you next time.